My fiancée was with her ex just before the wedding, so I contacted the venue and canceled the entire event. What I discovered next made me realize I'd been living with a stranger for 3 years. I'm Marcus, 29, and until last month I thought I had my life figured out. Great job in marketing, nice apartment, and Emma, my fiancée of 2 years. We were supposed to get married on October 14th, 3 weeks from the day I found out everything was a lie. Emma works as a dental hygienist, and I always admired how dedicated she was to her patients. She'd often work late or go in on weekends for emergency cleanings, and I never questioned it. Why would I? I trusted her completely. The red flag that started everything was so stupid and small. Last Tuesday, Emma came home around 9 p.m. claiming she'd been at her co-worker Janet's house planning our bachelorette party. She was wearing different perfume, something floral and expensive that definitely wasn't the vanilla scent she always wore. When I mentioned it, she laughed it off and said Janet had been testing samples. Wednesday morning, I was doing laundry and found a parking ticket in Emma's jeans pocket. Downtown parking garage, Tuesday, 3:47 p.m. Janet lives in the suburbs, 20 miles from downtown. The timeline didn't add up. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I logged into our shared phone plan account and pulled Emma's text records. I know that sounds paranoid, but something in my gut was screaming that things weren't right. The number that appeared most frequently over the past 2 months wasn't mine. It wasn't Janet's. It wasn't her sister's or her mom's. I reverse searched it and found it belonged to Ryan Mitchell, Emma's ex-boyfriend from college. The same Ryan she'd told me was totally out of the picture when we started dating. I called in sick to work Thursday and did something I never thought I'd do. I followed her. Emma left for work at 7:30 a.m. like always, but instead of heading toward the dental office, she drove straight to a coffee shop downtown. Ryan was waiting for her in the parking lot. I watched them through the window for 45 minutes. They weren't acting like old friends catching up. Emma was leaning across the table, touching his hand, laughing at everything he said. When they left, they hugged for way too long, and he kissed her cheek in a way that made my stomach turn. That evening, Emma came home with her usual cheerful attitude. "How was work?" I asked, testing her. "Oh, same old stuff. Mrs. Peterson canceled again, so I caught up on paperwork. Janet and I grabbed lunch and talked more about the bachelor party plans." "That's nice. Where did you go for lunch?" "That little sandwich place near the office." "Nothing fancy." 3 lies in 30 seconds. She hadn't been at work. She hadn't been with Janet. And she definitely hadn't been at any sandwich place. "Emma, we need to talk." Something in my voice must have tipped her off because her whole demeanor changed. The fake cheerfulness disappeared. "About what?" I showed her the parking ticket. "You weren't with Janet on Tuesday. You were downtown. Want to explain why you lied to me?" She stared at the ticket for a long moment, and I watched her face cycle through different emotions: surprise, panic, then what looked like relief. "Okay, fine. I wasn't with Janet. I was meeting with Ryan. Your ex-boyfriend Ryan, the one who's supposedly out of your life." "Yes, but it's not what you think. He's been going through a really tough divorce, and he reached out because he needed someone to talk to. I was just being a good friend." "A good friend who lies to her fiancé about where she's going?" "I knew you'd react exactly like this. You've always been jealous of my past relationships." That stung because it wasn't true. I'd never been the jealous type, and Emma knew it. "How long has this been going on?" "A couple months. But Jake, nothing inappropriate has happened. We just talk." "Show me your phone." "Excuse me?" "If you're just talking, show me your messages with Ryan." She clutched her phone closer to her chest. "I'm not showing you my private conversations." "That's a violation of trust." "A violation of trust?" "Emma, you've been lying to me for months about meeting with your ex-boyfriend. You don't get to lecture me about trust." She started crying then, which should have made me feel bad, but instead it just made me angrier. The tears felt manipulative. I can't do this right now. I'm going to stay at my sister's tonight. She packed a bag and left, and I spent the entire night staring at the ceiling, wondering if I was overreacting or if my instincts were right. Update 1. Friday morning, I made a decision that changed everything. I drove to Emma's dental office and asked to speak with Janet privately. Hey Marcus, what brings you here? Is everything okay with Emma? She called in sick today. She called in sick? She told me she was working. Janet's expression shifted to confusion. No, she called this morning and said she had food poisoning. Wait, what's going on? I explained the situation, the lies about being with Janet, the secret meetings with Ryan, everything. Janet's face got more concerned with each detail. Marcus, I need to tell you something. Emma asked me to cover for her several times over the past month. She said she was planning surprise elements for your wedding and needed me to tell you she was with me if you asked. What kind of surprise elements? She never said specifically. But now that you're telling me about Ryan, Janet looked genuinely upset. I'm so sorry. I had no idea I was helping her lie to you. I thanked Janet and drove home, feeling sick. Emma had orchestrated an elaborate system of lies involving her coworkers and probably other people. This wasn't a casual friendship with an ex. This was a deliberate deception. That afternoon, Emma came home with red eyes and a determined expression. We need to talk. Really talk this time. I'm listening. I haven't been completely honest with you about Ryan, but not in the way you think. Yes, I've been meeting with him more than I admitted. But Marcus, he's been trying to convince me not to marry you. I stared at her. What? He's been saying you're wrong for me, that I'm settling, that I should be with someone who really understands me. I've been meeting with him to tell him he's wrong, to defend our relationship. So your solution was to lie to me about it? I didn't want you to worry. I knew I could handle Ryan myself and convince him to back off. Emma, do you hear yourself right now? You've been having secret meetings with your ex-boyfriend for months, lying to me and everyone else about where you are, and you want me to believe you were defending our relationship? Yes, because that's exactly what I was doing. Then why did Janet tell me you asked her to cover for you? Why did you tell me you were planning wedding surprises? Her face crumpled. Because I knew how it would look. I knew you'd misunderstand. I misunderstood? Emma, normal people don't need their coworkers to cover for them when they're having innocent conversations with ex-boyfriends. We argued for 2 more hours, and nothing she said made sense. Every explanation created more questions. Every justification revealed another lie. That night, I made the hardest decision of my life. I called Riverside Gardens, our wedding venue. Hi, this is Marcus Chen. I need to discuss canceling our October 14th event. Update 2. The venue cancellation was brutal but necessary. We lost $8,000 in deposits and fees, but I paid it gladly. I also canceled the photographer, the flowers, and the catering. Each phone call was like ripping off a Band-Aid, but I felt lighter with each one. Emma came back Sunday afternoon, apparently ready to work through everything. She found me sitting at our kitchen table with cancellation confirmations spread out in front of me. What is all this? I canceled the wedding. She grabbed the papers, scanning them frantically. You canceled our wedding? Without discussing it with me? There's nothing to discuss, Emma. I can't marry someone who's been lying to me for months. Lying? I told you what happened with Ryan. I explained everything. You explained nothing. You gave me a story that makes no sense and asked me to ignore months of deception. She was crying again, but this time it seemed genuine. Marcus, please. We can fix this. I'll cut contact with Ryan completely. We can do counseling, whatever you need. Emma, it's not just about Ryan. It's about the fact that you could look me in the eye every day and lie. It's about the elaborate system you created to deceive me. It's about the fact that 3 weeks before our wedding, you're having secret meetings with your ex-boyfriend. But I love you. If you loved me, you wouldn't have done any of this. She begged for an hour, promising to change, to be honest, to earn back my trust. But the trust was gone, completely gone. When someone shows you they can lie that easily, that convincingly, for that long, you can never believe them again. Emma moved out that week. She took her things while I was at work, which was probably better for both of us. She left a 5-page letter apologizing and explaining and asking for one more chance. I threw it away without finishing it. The hardest part was telling our families. My parents were supportive, but shocked. Emma's family was less understanding. Her mother called me twice, insisting I was making a terrible mistake and that Emma's meetings with Ryan were innocent. Her father was more direct. Son, you're throwing away a good woman over jealousy. With respect, sir, I'm not throwing anything away. Emma threw it away when she chose to lie to me for months. 3 weeks later, on what would have been our wedding day, I was playing golf with my college roommates. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from people asking what happened, but I ignored all of it. That evening, my brother called. Dude, you need to see Emma's Instagram story. She'd posted a photo of herself in what I recognized as her wedding dress. Apparently, she'd picked it up from alterations anyway, with a caption about how sometimes love isn't enough and how she was choosing to focus on personal growth. The comments were filled with people asking what happened and offering support, not one mention of Ryan or the real reason our wedding was canceled. Update 3. It's been 6 weeks since I canceled the wedding. Emma has tried to contact me exactly 3 times, twice through text and once through her sister. I haven't responded to any of it. Last week, I ran into Ryan at a gas station. He approached me, which took some nerve. Hey Marcus, I heard about you and Emma. Did you... Look, I want you to know that nothing inappropriate happened between us. We were just talking. I looked at this guy, this person who had helped destroy my relationship, and felt nothing but contempt. Ryan, I don't care what happened between you two. What I care about is that Emma chose to lie to me about it. Whether you were talking or doing more than talking is irrelevant. She made her choice. She really did love you, you know. If she loved me, she would have told me the truth. He didn't have an answer for that. I heard through mutual friends that Emma and Ryan aren't together, which doesn't surprise me. Whatever they had was built on deception and drama, not the foundation for a real relationship. The $8,000 I lost on wedding cancellations was painful, but not devastating. What hurt more was realizing that the woman I thought I knew well enough to marry was essentially a stranger. The Emma who could lie so easily and so convincingly wasn't someone I'd ever really known. I'm dating again, casually. Nothing serious yet, but I'm learning to trust my instincts again. The red flags I ignored with Emma seem obvious now, and I won't make that mistake again. My life is quieter now, but more honest. I know where I stand with everyone in it. After 3 years of unknowingly living with lies, that clarity is worth everything. Edit 1. A lot of people are asking if I ever found out what really happened between Emma and Ryan. Honestly, I don't want to know. Whether they were just talking, having an emotional affair, or something physical doesn't change the fact that she lied to me repeatedly for months. The betrayal was the same regardless. Edit 2. Yes, I'm sure I made the right decision. A relationship can't survive without trust, and once that trust is broken this completely, it's gone forever. I wasn't going to spend my marriage wondering what Emma was really doing every time she was out of my sight.